All right, so welcome. Good afternoon or good morning if you are in the West Coast or if you are in some other part of this planet. Good evening, I guess. I am Daniele Latanzi. I'm the CEO and co-owner of Holistic Health Solution and Effective Practice Management, and welcome you today to this live podcast. With me, I have a great pleasure to have a great friend, but also bestseller author, a New York bestseller author for several books, and also financial planner, Christopher Music. Hello, Christopher. How are you today?
Great, Daniele. I'm glad to be here with you today.
Yes, thank you, thank you. And then also, first of all, thank you for all of you that are here watching us live, and for any of you that is going to watch this recording, also welcome and thank you for being with us and sharing this time with us, talking about the subject which I believe it's pertinent, which is money and messaging stop the feast and famine cycle. We have been talking with a lot of you practitioners, founder, uh, owner of practice, private practice, and one point that came across is that it seems that due to economy or whatever else, that there is a bit of this cash flow roller coaster and this sort of boom and famine type of scenario. So I thought to invite Christopher, being a financial planner and also expert in money management and so forth, and talk about this subject. So, Christopher, from a financial perspective, what's your view on what's happening here and what's going on?
Well, first of all, I'd like to kind of give a little bit of my background so that those of you who don't know me can get an idea of where I'm coming from. I've been a financial advisor now for 33 years. I started in 1992, fresh out of graduate school. I got a bachelor's in business administration, got a master's in business administration, focusing on finance and economics. Jumped out of school within 2 months. I was in my own private practice, which I wouldn't recommend people do, but I did it and went through a lot of trials and tribulations. 33 years later, I have built 2 successful practices. I have training as a certified business exit consultant. So I train and teach practice owners and other business owners how to build a practice to sell for maximum value and how to incorporate that into one's financial life and financial plan. But I'm also a certified business consultant in the Harvard Management System, which is applicable to any business. And it's based on really how to scale and how to systematize a business and all the data on really how to earn money, how to stay sane while you're expanding a company. And of course, using an approach that has worked for millions of companies around the world. So I have a lot of experience working with private practice owners just like you. And of course, when you take a look at an economy, all economies go through cycles. And there's a cycle of expansion where everything goes up, all the profits go up, all the revenue goes up, people have a lot of money to spend. They're not so concerned about wasting it because there's always more right around the corner. Of course, we are really at the end of that expansion cycle. First thing we've seen is a lot of housing costs, housing prices go down in many markets around the country. We're seeing unemployment increase. And of course, a lot of that employment was government jobs, which are no longer needed. And we also have other factors that are coming in. The Federal Reserve is trying to manage in an inflationary environment, bringing interest rates down, which of course will be an interesting experiment because we're kind of in a different economy, in my opinion, but we'll let the Fed do what they do. We can't control that. What we can control is what we do. And there are certain actions that we take and certain actions that we don't take when we move into a slower economy where there's not as many patients or customers as you would have in an expansionary environment. So the competition is going to get a little tougher, and there's going to be price pressure on your services. So rather than there's a strategy for that. And of course, we have to look at the long game too. So those are some of the things that we're going to look at, hopefully in this conversation. But at the end of the day, again, it's not what happens to the economy. It's what you do with what happens in the economy that makes all the difference. And you have an incredible opportunity in front of you if you just make a couple of the right moves at the right time.
Yeah, that's totally correct. That's absolutely spot on. Now, question, like we talked about it, like I mean, you touched upon this is like not a random occurrence, this type of scenario, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like from a business perspective or a practice management point of view, like what's the fundamental mindset that prevent practitioners from breaking free from this sort of cash flow roller coaster, and what can they do about it?
Everything starts with mindset. And that's one of the things I've gotten involved with lately that was an undercut of my old financial planning system that I developed, about a decade ago. And, when you study mindset, what you think you become.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what happens is when you start dealing with recessionary environments, people will default to a scarcity mindset. There's only so much money. There's only so many patients.
Right.
People aren't buying. And if you think like that, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get people not buying. You're not going to be able to afford it. And so the first thing to do is just disconnect from the matrix. Everyone's going in the same direction. And the reason why I work with private practice owners is because you're the smartest people in our culture. And you're able to detach yourself from groupthink, clearly, because you're entrepreneurs. And you can basically play a different game. And you don't have to be the best in the world at it. You just have to be better than your competition. And so I think it starts with knowing that there is so much abundance out there. There's trillions of dollars in the economy. I mean, there's so much money, you just put up your hand and it'll start, collecting in your hand. There's just so much of it flying around. The key is to have a value delivery mindset. What people don't remember all the time is that the money you receive is solely a function of the value you give. And there's a sequence.
Right.
Value delivery is first in the sequence. Once the value is received, then the value receipt comes in after that. So if you're not having enough money come in, it's not like, how do I make more money? It's how do I create more value? Right. That's the mindset, is value creation, and not value to you, value to the person giving you their valuable for what you're creating. That's the difference. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, after all, like kind of on any business, doesn't matter what they do, like they solve some problems. So I guess that if you want to put it in very simple terms, somebody want to make more income, they need to start thinking, rather than thinking, how can I make more money, is how can I solve more problems?
Well, yeah, it's a different way of saying, how can I create value? Is solving a problem for somebody is creating value.
That's right.
And if you solve it, and here's the thing that always fascinates me. There's a million solutions to any problem. However, there are very, very few solutions that are the correct ones. And how do you know if it's a correct solution? Because it solves the problem, now get this, without creating another problem. That's what like the economy is full of solutions, but those solutions, well, let's take pharmaceuticals. Yeah, I got a stomach ache. Okay, so I take a synthetic pharmaceutical for it. Great. Now I have like skin lesions. That's not a solution.
Right.
A solution is I take whatever I'm deficient in my gut, and it resolves it without creating another health problem. And if you specialize in correct solutions that do not create other problems, but order as a result, you will kill it in your market, because then the testimonials and your reputation and your marketing can then support the fact that you give correct solutions, which are way more valuable than solutions that appear to work but don't, or create other problems. And that's the key about on the technical side of what you deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. You're 100% correct. Nice, very nice. Now, let's switch gear, because we talked about a little bit, you touched upon a little bit, but you mentioned about something in relation to personal brand, right? And
Yes.
the personal brand and versus like the company brand. So, and I think we have discussed before this, but you're talking about that the personal brand is almost like a revenue insurance. So can you kind of expand upon this concept of, and kind of go over okay, so what's the connection between practitioners that, is out there, our guys, they're all healthcare practitioners out there working day in, day out. They're there. They want to have their practice because from a sheer desire to help people, right? So they're not particularly thinking in terms of, okay, money, finance, and this or that, so forth. But how is the concept of become visible as a practitioners and authority and having a personal brand, how that impact their bottom lines of a practice?
Well, that's a very good question. And, I'll give you a little bit more about my background, kind of explain this in a way. So back in 2009, I created a results-based financial planning system called Econologics. And that's my system that I created. Now, that became a company, a financial planning company and an institute of educational products. It had, the implementation of the plan, all of that. And that's since been kind of sold from me and is now operating independent of me. But during that time, I also created my own personal brand, Christopher Music. Everyone remembers that name because it's a very unique name, artistic name. And but the reason why you have a separation between who you are and what your company is because people do not do business with Econologics. At least they didn't. They did business with Christopher Music, who then had a machine set up that could implement what Christopher Music said. Okay? Well, when you're a doctor, you are the authority. And as an authority, you have two parts to your professional persona. The first one is you. You are the authority. You are the one that people will do business with. Because why? People do business with people that they know, like, and trust. They cannot know, like, and trust a practice. They can know, like, and trust a doctor or nutritionist or acupuncturist, whatever, who is deemed as a competent leading expert, technically and philosophically in that field. That's the first thing. When you brand yourself, then you can create a machine, a structure, a practice, a clinic that can be the implementation of the system that is a result of your genius. You see the difference there?
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Let's look, I'll give you a perfect example. Everyone knows Richard Branson. Now, Richard Branson's the billionaire, and what does he own? They're Virgin companies. So you don't have Richard Branson, you don't have the Virgin companies. They promote Virgin, whatever it is. I mean, there's a million Virgin companies, okay? The Virgin Group, and all the different companies. I just saw an ad for Virgin Cruise Lines. Okay, and there's Virgin Aerospace, and there's Virgin this and Virgin that. It used to be Virgin Records. Well, all these different Virgin companies. But who's the guy who's behind those companies? Richard Branson. Now, people know both brands, but Richard Branson was very, very careful to curate his own persona. He's the billionaire who does the hot air balloon world record things and whatever else he's doing, philanthropy, whatever, because it's through people loving what he does and who he is that make them go to Virgin companies. Okay, and there's several examples out there. He that's probably one of the best. But everybody who runs a business really needs to have their own personal brand, because you limit your expansion if people don't know who you are. So the greatest marketing goes into creating who you are. And then through your funnel, through your network, your positioning, your social media, whatever it is, then you filter them into the implementation part of your funnel, which is your practice. And the practice can do its own marketing primarily to the current patients. But it's for the new patients, it's really the top of the funnel is your brand, the bottom of the funnel is your practice. If that makes sense?
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like and especially, you're completely spot on. Like in today also environment with also having social media. Also now we have AI and all the things coming out. Also having a personal brand and authority I think is becoming more relevant than ever before for all the reasons you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can get into more of the tactics of that. But in the world of social media and the internet, information overload, false information. I mean, gee, you get on an Instagram feed for any 5 minutes and you get everything, contradicting everything else from one expert to another, and people are relying on a person, not AI, but a person to know the truth of what's actually being done, because we all know AI is created by somebody with an agenda. We all know that. Okay, right. So we got to take that into consideration when we're trying to get information. But again, remember, your job as an expert is to be correct, is to have the correct solution to the correct problem that results in order. That's your job. Okay, and if you do that and you do that consistently, then everybody is going to come flying into you because you are a proven solver of problems, value creator, and they're more than willing to give you the value in return. So it starts with you, and you are the one that's saying, I'm going to take this responsibility upon my shoulders, and I'm going to go out here. And for me, I look at the financial world, I look in the wealth building world, and I try to dig through all the facts and the theories and all this stuff and try to find something that works every time, all the time, and develop systems that do that. Okay, and I've been doing it for 15 years. I got a whole new system I'm developing now, which is a quantum leap over what I've ever done. But it solves problems, really does. And once it gets out there, people will be like, oh yeah, Christopher, he does that. Yeah, he's the guy to go to. And just as whoever's watching this, you are the doctors, like, oh yeah, you handled this illness or got my hormones regulated or whatever it is. Oh yeah, they got it down. And it just takes so much attention that that's given back to that person, because they no longer have to go out there and try to do all the research. You've already done it. You've already proven you've done it. They'll just come to you. It's real. Yeah. And that's why, and I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but that's why you need to be known. If you're not known, you can't get any patients if no one knows who you are. Which is why personal branding is such a huge thing nowadays. I can go into that more if you want me to. Yeah,
no, in fact, that was my next question for you. Like, obviously, all of I'm 100% sure that everyone is in agreement with that. But at the same time, say, cool. So now how can we put this into a practical application? So like what are some I mean, obviously we don't have a full day to go over, but what are some strategy that practitioners can implement to become more visible and start building its own personal brand, so that it can also smooth out this, because at the end of the day, like, at the end of the month, they need to pay the bills, right? So like at the end of it, so what are some key strategy that somebody can do like right away that can be applied?
All right, well, I'm going to start off with what not to do.
Okay.
Okay, so, and mind you, I am going through this process myself right now. I am rebuilding a whole new platform after being retired for about 5 years. Decided to come back and build a whole new machine because I have so much experience that I didn't have before, and much more knowledge after having my life experiences, and so I'll tell you what not to do. One thing I find that practitioners love to do is spend more money on how to be a better clinician, to learn a new technique to deliver services, whatever it is, continuing education. If I get this certification, I'll be able to deliver better quality treatment. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, you're already a rock star. If you just dial in what you're already doing, you are going to be fine. But money is made in marketing, not in being a better practitioner, because you all know practitioners that are making a fortune who shouldn't be practicing, right? Okay, so spend your money on marketing. Now, how much should you be spending? 10 to 20% of practice gross should be spent on marketing. More than that in the early years. Less than that if you have a referral system that is keeping you busy. Now, when do you dial back on your marketing? Very simple. When you have a waiting list. When you have a waiting list, when you have more patients who want to see you than you have time to or capacity or bandwidth to see them. That is when you can safely expand by adding another practitioner into your practice, adding staff, because you have enough revenue coming in to be able to handle the load. So that's the first thing I think of, is got to spend way. Practice owners notoriously undermarket, straight up.
Yep.
Just 10x your promotion, straight up. Okay, and on every line. And there's a lot of promotion that's free. Okay,
Right.
but the first thing you do is accept the fact that you are the face of your practice. Don't be an introvert and try to hide behind the clinical practice. Just, I just want one-on-one and don't want to be, out there talking. You won't make it. You just won't make it in private practice. You'd be better off being an associate somewhere else if you want to be just a clinician. If you want to be a practice owner, then you're going to have to know how to run a practice as an executive and be an owner, which means you need to build your business that becomes a saleable asset some point in the future. Okay, and the only way you can make it saleable is if you create enough of a community and a following that it is worth something to someone else. Okay, so you need to build a huge following. How? Become the expert. Look at, you ever heard of Tony Robbins? Grant Cardone, Robert Kiyosaki? I know these are Dr. Oz, Eric Berg. These people create massive communities because they're out there being the expert. Okay, so here's how you do it. Social media. Okay, I mean, there's a lot of ways to do that, but get out on social media and start creating content. Okay, because what you know already is a light year ahead of any patient. So if you know something that your patient doesn't know and it's proven to be true, you're the rock star already, done in their eyes. Okay, know, like, and trust. They have to know you, so they have to see you, communicate. I do these podcasts because I wanted people to see what, who I am and what I'm doing. Okay, so get on podcasts. That's huge. Okay, and by the way, everything I tell you, Daniele and I have a referral for you to get you going. I'm just telling you right now. Okay, so social media management, that's a huge thing. Being positioned as the rock star in your market. Okay, another thing is publish a book. you got to publish a book. And it is not nearly as hard as you think it is. I mean, they made it so easy. And don't let AI write it. Forget that nonsense. Actually have a communication from you and be authentic. That's a very critical detail. But you can have people help you write a book. You can get ghostwriters. It's not that much money. You can make it a bestseller. It's not that much money, but you start getting status. I have multiple books out there. A lot of them are compilation books. I wrote one chapter with 15 or 20 other experts, and it becomes a bestseller. Okay, that's no less valid as writing your own book. But y'all have content to at least write a 1,500 word chapter, and get into a book and make it a bestseller. So that's a standard calling card for anybody anymore. Learn how to do public speaking. I've been doing it since I was 5. My dad's a minister. And when I was 5 years old, he put me in front of the congregation and just started speaking, doing prayers and reading out of the Bible and things like that. It's like, we're going to cure this kid of shyness right now. And so I do. I speak publicly for a living. But it's not that hard. It's just having a conversation with one person at a time. It doesn't matter if 2,000 people are watching or you're having a conversation over a cup of coffee. So it's easy to do. But get out there and start to talk to people. Number 3, find stages that are impossible to get on. Okay? Over the last year, I have spoken at the Mexican stock market, the Bolsa, down in Mexico City. I spoke at the Mexican Academy of Medicine.
Wow.
I spoke at NASA, NASDAQ Stock Exchange, the New York Academy of Medicine, and several other places. Next October, I'm speaking at the University of London.
Wow.
And yes. And these are all, stages that all of you can get on. I mean, they're available. It's a coaching program. It's a program. I have, I've spoken in St. Petersburg, Russia, to 400 entrepreneurs. That was a blast. Unbelievable. But those things are rare. It's not speaking at your local Better Business Bureau. It is going somewhere to do something that is very difficult to attain. And what that does is, in the perception of your patient, wow, she spoke at the New York Academy of Medicine. Wow, she must be something good, something awesome. Yeah. It's perceived value. That's what you're going to create in your persona. Best-selling author, award-winning speaker. You get the idea, right? These are basics anymore. These are not luxuries. These are fundamental marketing actions for any professional. As a matter of fact, I just did a TED Talk, a TEDx talk last March. It was accepted to be on the global platform, of which maybe 1% to 2% of the local franchise TEDx talks do. I was fortunate to get on there. I have 48,000 views right now. That's not that I make business from that, but it puts it out there that if someone wants to put me on a stage in front of a bunch of doctors, they're going to look at that and say, this guy did an awesome TED Talk.
Right.
Again, you're creating value. You're publishing. You're being out there speaking. You're getting on these stages that are tough to get on. So again, if you want to get on a TEDx stage, I have resources to help you do that. It's just really, it's very doable for all of you. And finally, celebrity positioning. The one thing that people love is celebrity. I don't know why. I can't even contemplate that, but people love celebrity. And to give you an illustration on how valuable celebrity is, look at the Kardashians. They are billionaires. And what's their product? Getting attention, drama. Who would have thought drama is such a valuable commodity? But it is. And why? Celebrities get attention. And attention is one of the highest commodities in our economy because money follows attention. So if you want to make more money in your practice, You have to get a lot of attention, and you will see that your attention stat is your gross income stat. The
Right.
more eyeballs that see you, the more people talk about you, the more you're seen and known, the more you have on the internet, the more clicks, the more this, the more income you make. It's just, it's highly correlated.
Absolutely.
Okay? So, like some of the things I've been able to do, I met Rudy Giuliani and had an interview with him. I met Joycelyn Elders, who was the Surgeon General under the Clinton administration, and did an interview with her. And so on. And I've been on television. I've been on television 6 times, promoting a book that I'm writing. And when you get those videos, and you put them on your website, and this guy's obviously smart enough to be on TV talking about a book he's writing on something that's of interest to a lot of people. Well, I'm different than the guy down the street who's a financial advisor. You see the difference? You see how that works? So what I want for you is to dominate your local market. And no, you're not going to get patients from being on TV. You're not going to get them for speaking at the New York Academy of Medicine. You're not. But what you are going to do is create altitude and referability. Because when your patients go out there and start talking to their friends, hey, who do you go to for nutrition? Let's just say that's what you do. Okay. Well, they go to Dr. Smith. Well, why? Well, best-selling author, did a TED Talk, spoke at London Academy of Medicine, which could be done in October as well. And like, really? Wow. That my doctor's unknown. You see the difference? People love celebrity because it creates a warranty. Your brand, it's your brand. And your brand is a warranty to your patient that you're going to receive a certain quality of advice and the solving of your problem. And that is more valuable than your practice.
Absolutely, like 100%. And obviously also like it is, and I believe it is especially with our guys that and that they are in the profession that you are because you want to help other people. Well, more authority equal more people that you're going to reach out there, and they are going to see you as the person that can help with their health-related problem. So, and it's a very good example is individual like Dr. Eric Berg that is very have millions of viewers and people, they just he is the go-to person if they want to handle something, or they always say, oh, okay, well, let's see what Dr. Berg's saying about it. And there you go. That's how you can become an authority as well, like through YouTube. So does it have to be, if you don't have your own, I mean, you can have your own TV channel just by creating your own YouTube channel, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can be something simple.
Yeah, you either create your own or you get on other people's and start building your own list by being on other people's channels.
Absolutely.
But it's always content. People love content, and they especially love factual content. The stuff that actually gets results without creating other problems. Yeah,
absolutely. Totally. Now, we kind of wow, time fly, and we're getting toward the end of today podcast. Now, Chris, is there like I wanted to let people know that actually this podcast is a preview of your session because you're going to be one of the speakers at the upcoming Produce Grow conference, right? In November. And for anyone who doesn't know, okay, we're going to host a Produce Grow conference right here in Clearwater on the first weekend in November, right after I think is the 7th or 8th of November. And we're going to have a weekend full of activities with tips and seminars and workshop on how to expand and how to scale and how to prepare yourself to go on to 2026. Chris is going to be one of our speakers. And obviously, without giving anything away, is there any like tidbits of game-changing insight that you can share that can help practitioners to transform their viability that they can come?
Yeah, a lot. Well, first thing, spend time with your peers and learn new techniques, or be reminded of techniques you already know about how to increase your practice and your influence, impact, and income. So the first thing I'm going to tell you to do is come to the event November 7th and 8th in Clearwater, because the content that I'm going to be delivering to you is awesome. I have 2 sessions we're going to be doing. One is on the personal branding, the exact how-to, step-by-step, how to dial that in. And I'm going to be talking to you about Econetics, which is my results-based wealth management system. It's my new system that is results-based wealth management, so that you can actually not only make a lot more money, but to keep it and multiply it in ways that are based on natural laws that have always been true. So come bring come to the event, bring other like-minded doctors to the event, and make it a way that you can recharge and learn with your peers, so you can always get involved with best practices, because you always learn more with people that are doing what you're doing than people who aren't. So I think that's the first thing I would tell you to do. Second thing is to really keep tabs on your mindset. You know, when people around you are thinking and saying, I can't afford it, I really can't afford your services, we tend to go into agreement. Yeah, it is too expensive. Yeah, I can see where they don't really have the money right now. No, you can't do that. If you go into agreement, you're going to go into the scarcity mindset before you even notice it. And I've done it myself, and I've been very mindful of staying in that affluence mindset. So I think that's where it starts. Affluence mindset is like, well, I don't have the $10,000 right now to invest in this program, but I know if I do it, I'll make 25,000 if I implement it like they told me, because it's a good program. And you say, well, I really, I just need to go for it, because you'll make the more money if you do it with it says, right? So
Totally,
it's always being mindful of getting more value out than you put in. And then we can go into a whole thing on that, but that's really the biggest thing I would tell people right now is just, you got to be more mindful of your exchanges. What you spend your money on needs to provide results. We do not have the luxury of wasting money anymore.
Totally. Well, thank you. Thank you. And for anyone that watching this live podcast or replay, so we're going to drop the link for how to sign up. That is, you guys see here live, but also you will see it on the replay shown. Again, the Practice Grow Conference could be the 7th and 8th of November right here in Clearwater. And you're going to get all the details of where and what time and so forth. We're going to start Friday first things. Now we're going to have many speakers. Christopher is one of them. We're going to have another speaker, which is an amazing speaker. You will see it like in the upcoming podcast, Project Well Done. We're going to do a whole seminars on selling without selling. We're going to have like also Dr. Shane Morris from Systemic Formula. He is going to do a whole workshop on how to implement the DNA testing in your practice. I'm going to do a workshop on AI, and also another one, AI, and also on local visibility, having to do with Google and all the stuff that's happening in that arena. Also, we're going to do a whole workshop on the area of product flow optimizations, how you not be stuck, because there is a lot of expansion is blocked by the fact that there is bottleneck in your practice, and that's what is keep your practice to stay small and not scale. We're going to have a whole training on public speaking as well. And that to mention also by Chris, it's going to be done and is going to be awesome. So we're going to be lots and lots of activity. Definitely, this is a workshop that you don't want to miss, and it's done in such a way that we thought about everything so that you can come in on Friday, be there Saturday and Sunday, Friday, Saturday, and zip out on Sunday, so that you are not going to miss too much of delivery, and you can back on your practice Monday morning. So there you have it. So the link is right here. Here you have also a slide, Practice Grow Conference 2025, September 8 to 7 and 8 here in Clearwater. And by the way, we still have the early bird pricing that is going to actually end off in a few days next week. So take advantage of that. There you go. All right. So, well, Christopher, thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you, all of you that you're here present and for watching and spend this time with us. It's been always a pleasure, and we'll look forward to see you all at the Practice Grow Conference. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone.